Okay. So I'm going to be reading from, I'll try to finish the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. So for that, I'll be reading from the condensed verse, condensed book of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Are you not able to see? I'm going to read from that book. So most of the pastimes are taken from the main book, are condensed here. So we will just have a glimpse. So people who have not read Chaitanya Charitamrita will get an overall view of the contents of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And just by hearing this, you will be inspired to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. And those who have already read or heard Chaitanya Charitamrita will feel more enthusiasm to read again. Okay, still some devotees don't want to show their lotus faces. It's okay. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinadarina Paramananda Madhava Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So now before I begin, let me thank all the devotees who have switched on their videos so that I can see their lotus faces. Thank you, Brajalakshmi Mataji, Susevini Mataji, Sampat Prabhu, Jitendra Prabhu, Bharati Mataji, Rama Mataji, Sunita Mataji, Sudevi, Sunayana Mataji, Mahesh Prabhu, sorry.
Sarita.
Sarita. So you have to put Sarita there.
Okay, sorry.
Sarita Mataji, Vaishnava Prabhu, NRJD Mangalam Prabhu, Gaurangi Mataji, Lalita Mataji, Neeraj Prabhu, Asha Jagadish Mataji, Sevanandi Mataji, Vanita Mataji, Divyarani, Devi Dasi Mataji, Dhruva and Saundarya Mataji, and Maheshwari Mataji and Swati Priya, Thaneshwar Prabhu. Thank you all for giving me the darshan of your wonderful lotus faces. Now I feel connected. And also, little Kishori is showing her face up here and there. Yes, now I can see her fully. Okay. So let us start with Balya Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and how he appeared. So that's what we're going to cover in this. The Vedic literature, are the rooms ready and people have joined? The translations are happening?
Yes, Mataji, the Hindi group are there. There are 6 people in Hindi as of now.
Kannada group is not happening, Sunita Mataji? How many devotees are there in the Kannada group?
Including me, 7, Mataji.
Wonderful. Sevanandi Mataji, any Tamil group?
Nobody is there, Mataji.
If he wants Tamil, then Sevanandi Mataji is could help in translating. Anybody wants Telugu?
I want your story.
My story? No, I'm telling the story of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is more exciting.
I want your lecture, I said, Mataji.
Okay.
I don't want to miss you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, the Vedic literatures proclaim that from time to time, the Supreme Lord Vishnu appears within the material world as an incarnation in order to relieve the burden of the earth. This is not the work of the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. However, for it is his expansion, Lord Vishnu, who maintains the universe by accepting his role of Sattvaguna Avatara. So many people get confused that Krishna is one of the avatars. But Krishna is not an avatara. Krishna is an avatari. What do we mean by avatari? What do we understand by word avatari? One who is the source of all incarnations is called an avatari. So Krishna is an avatari. From him, all the incarnations emanate. So Krishna is the source of all the incarnations. And yet, it so happened that the time for removing the burden of the earth coincided with Lord Krishna's scheduled appearance at the end of Dwapara Yuga during the 28th Divya Yuga of the Vaivashvata Manvantara. So this is very important. There are 1000 cycles of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So one cycle of Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali is called one Divya Yuga. So in the 28th Divya Yuga, so that means in this particular day of Brahma, out of the 1000 cycles, he chose Krishna, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, the Avatari, chose the 28th cycle to appear in Dwapara Yuga. So this is why very important. And who is our Manu? What is the name of our Manu?
Vaivasvantara.
Yes, it's very important. Because once I remember, Guru Maharaj asked, who is your Prime Minister? Everybody said. Who is your Finance Minister? Everybody said. Then who is your Manu? Nobody knew. Then Guru Maharaj said, you have to know your Manu. Because your ministers, they keep changing. Your Prime Minister and other ministers, they keep changing. But for the next 72 cycles, the Manu is going to be the same. So he is Vaivashvata Manu. So our Manu is Vaivashvata Manu. And so during the 28th Divya Yuga, at the end of Dwapara Yuga, during the Vaivashvata Manvantara, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared. When the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, all of the incarnations appear and he kills the demons in his feature as Lord Vishnu. So this is one very another important point to note down. So when Krishna appears, all the incarnations are also included in him. Everybody is there in him. So at that particular time, whatever he has to manifest, only that will manifest. But when he comes as Krishna, everybody is there along with him. And when he kills the demons, it is not Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who kills it. The Vishnu who is within him is who kills the demons. Lord Krishna personally descends within the material world for two reasons. So why does Krishna descend? Because killing of the demons, anyway, Vishnu is doing. And also, re-establishing the religious principles, that also is Vishnu is doing. So, but why Krishna is coming? Why Krishna is the Supreme Lord? Why he is descending? There are two reasons. One reason is that he wants to taste the sweet essence of transcendental mellows. He wants to taste. So there are five transcendental mellows, which Krishna actually experiences. That is, Shantarasa, Dasyarasa, Sakhyarasa, Vatsalya Rasa, and Madhurya Rasa. So Krishna wants to experience the relationships in these different mellows. In these mellows means in Sanskrit, Krishna Prabhupada has given such a sweet name for rasa. Rasa in Sanskrit, Prabhupada has translated it as mellows. And the second one is that he wants to propagate within the world devotional service. So this is very important. Yes, it's recording. So the first thing is that he wants to taste the transcendental mellows, because when he is in Goloka Vrindavana, you know, he, as a Supreme Lord, he is not able to taste the mellow of Vatsalya Rasa. No, the baby Krishna pastime, because he is there already as a 16-year-old boy. Eternally he is as a 16-year-old boy. So he is unable to taste the Vatsalya Rasa, when he, as a small child, stealing the butter and killing of the demons as a small child, lifting the Govardhana hill, all those things, all those pastimes don't happen in the spiritual world. So he wants to taste all that. And then he wants to propagate devotional service. So if you see in the Bhagavad Gita, the 12th chapter is all about devotional service. So he wants to propagate devotional service. So this is the reason why Krishna wants to appear. And what kind of devotional service? Devotional service on the platform of spontaneous love. Spontaneously, how to love Krishna. So this is the kind of devotional service he wants to propagate. With this in mind, okay, even before I continue, Vaishnava Prabhu, how much time I have?
Forty
Madhuri,
minutes,
after
Mataji.
Sorry?
8 to
40
9 is what I announced.
1 hour, okay, 8 to 9. Okay, no more 40 minutes. Okay. With this in mind, Lord Krishna thought as follows: the entire universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love, which is weakened by feelings of awe and reverence, does not satisfy me. The love of one who regards me as a supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate cannot control me. On the other hand, my mother sometimes binds me, considering me to be her son. Indeed, she nourishes and protects me, thinking that I am utterly helpless. My friends climb onto my shoulders and say, "What kind of a hero are you? I'm your equal." When my dear lover reproaches me in a sulky mood, and that steals away my mind from the reverential hymns of the Vedas. So these are the things what Krishna wants to experience, and he loves these exchanges. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend on the earth and perform varieties of wonderful pastimes that are unknown even in Vaikuntha. In this way, I shall broadcast transcendental relationships with my devotees that are astonishing even to myself. By the influence of Yogamaya, the gopis will become inspired with the sentiment that I am their parama. Both the gopis and I will forget our identities, because our minds will always remain enchanted by each other's extraordinary beauty and qualities. Pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious principles. And by tasting the essence of these rasas, I shall favor all of the devotees. After hearing about the pure love of the residents of Vraja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all kinds of religious rituals and fruitive activities. So Krishna also wants to have these wonderful exchanges, even with ordinary living entities like us. So he wants us to get attracted. So when we see these wonderful pastimes of Krishna, Krishna being chased by Mother Yashoda and he's running away in fear, or the Gopas defeating Krishna, things like that, when we see, we get so enchanted by these pastimes. And then we also want to experience these kind of relationships. So this is the reason Krishna wants to awaken that kind of attraction towards him within our hearts, even though we are so full of material desires. This is actually the greatest compassion of Krishna. Thereafter, Lord Krishna appeared within this world, and then after enjoying his transcendental pastimes along with his devotees, the devoted servants, friends, parents, and conjugal lovers, he disappeared. However, after his departure, Krishna thought, for a long time, I have not bestowed unalloyed loving service upon the inhabitants of this universe. And without such spontaneous attachment, the existence of the entire material creation is useless. Everywhere, people worship me according to Shastric injunctions. But simply by following the regulative principles, one cannot gain the loving sentiments possessed by the devotees of Vrajabhumi. Knowing of my opulence, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion which is made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. So Krishna, even though he wound up his pastimes and he went back to Goloka Vrindavana, he's thinking that he has not given that spontaneous love. Because Krishna told Arjuna in the end, he said, Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. He's saying this. What scripture and which verse? No, I'm reading from the condensed version of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mataji, which is written in a story form. I'm reading from that, so that everybody gets overall glimpse of the nectar of Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Sure, Mataji.
So Krishna, he just said, you just give up everything and you surrender to me. Okay, Arjuna, he being with Krishna always, he understood how to surrender. But we don't know how to surrender. So what did Krishna do? Therefore, I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nama Sankirtana, the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And how will he do that? How will Krishna propagate this? He's saying, by accepting the role of a devotee, I shall make the whole world dance in ecstasy and thus realize the four mellows of loving devotional service. See how compassionate Krishna is. Even though the living entities in this material world, they are not qualified. In this universe, we are not qualified. Still, he's saying that I will become a devotee. And by my activities, I'm going to propagate this. Look at the compassion of the. There's no need for him to do this. He's very happy there. But still, how much he's thinking about us. This is actually the compassion of the Supreme Lord. In this way, I shall teach devotional service to others by personally practicing it. For whatever a great personality does, common people will follow. Of course, my plenary portions can establish the religious principles for each age, but only I can bestow the kind of loving devotional service which is performed by the residents of Vraja. So this is very important. The Vishnu expansions, Sarvadharma, what is that? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata, no? Abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamiham. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkrutam dharma sansthapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So that Krishna is saying even his plenary portions can do. It's not necessary that Krishna has to be there. But this loving devotional service, bestowing loving devotional service, giving loving devotional service, only Krishna can do. Only the avatari can do. The avatara cannot do. Only the avatari can do. And that too, what kind of devotional service? That which is performed by the residents of Vrajadham. So because Krishna is saying, I don't, it's beyond my capacity to give you anything. So you, only thing what I can ask you is you be satisfied with your own devotional service. That's what Krishna is saying. So this is the highest type of devotional service, and that Krishna is coming to give us. Look at his compassion. What compassionate person he is. Besides this, secondary reason for Krishna to appear once more taking the form of a devotee, there is another confidential purpose of a very personal nature. So what is that? Even though Lord Krishna had tasted the essence of loving mellows by performing his conjugal pastimes in the company of gopis, he was not able to fulfill three desires. So he felt unfulfilled. Three of his desires were not fulfilled. That's what Krishna is saying. Therefore, after his disappearance, the Lord thought, although I am the absolute truth and the reservoir of all rasas, I cannot understand the strength of Radharani's love, which she always overwhelms me. So he is unable to understand what is it that is there in Radharani's love, which is actually capturing him, which is actually attracting him, which is overwhelming him. Indeed, the love of Radharani is my teacher, and I am her dancing pupil. For her love makes me dance in various novel ways. Whatever pleasure I get from tasting my love for Srimati Radharani, she relishes 10 million times more by her love. So if Krishna is relishing one, she is relishing 10 million times. Just imagine what, Krishna is saying, I cannot comprehend. So it's best left, we just read it, not for us to think what it is. Although there is nothing greater than Radha's love, since it is all pervading, it's nonetheless expands constantly and is completely devoid of pride. There is nothing purer than Radha's love, and yet its behavior is always perverse and crooked. So it's not straightforward. Radharani also gives him pleasure in a different way also. Krishna is saying her love is perverse and crooked. So when he's saying her love is perverse and crooked, it's not in the material terms. In the materialistic world, what we say perverse and crooked, it's not like that. This is in a transcendental perverse and transcendental crookedness. Sri Radhika is the highest abode of love, and I am its only object. I taste the bliss to which the object is entitled. But Radha's pleasure is 10 million times greater than mine. Again and again, Krishna is saying that. Therefore, my mind becomes mad to taste the pleasure that is experienced by the abode of love. Who is the abode of love? The abode of love is Srimati Radharani. Although I cannot do so. It's like, can the honey taste its own sweetness? No. The honey cannot taste its own sweetness. But others can taste the sweetness of love. So here, Radharani is the honey. Or rather, Krishna is the honey. Krishna is the honey. And Radharani is tasting. And Krishna wants to taste that love, that sweetness, what Radharani is tasting. So, because he himself is the honey, he's unable to taste it. So, he's wondering, oh, I want to taste. Everybody is saying that their love to me is so wonderful, but I want to know what is that love. What is it that is in me which is attracting Radharani so much and giving her so much pleasure? Only if I can somehow become the abode of that love, will I be able to experience its joy. This was one desire that increasingly blazed in Lord Krishna's heart. So I said there are three reasons. So this was one reason. So one reason was to taste the love that Radha was tasting. Then upon seeing his own beauty, Lord Krishna began to consider as follows. My sweetness is unlimitedly wonderful. Only Radhika can taste the complete nectar of my sweetness by the strength of her love. So how is she able to taste his sweetness? By the strength of her love. Her love is so strong, which acts just like a mirror whose clarity increases every moment. Although my sweetness being without limit, seemingly has no room for expansion, it shines forth with newer and newer beauty and thus constantly competes with the mirror of Radharani's love. So beautiful. There's a transcendental competition between Krishna's sweetness and Radharani tasting that sweetness as they both go on increasing without admitting defeat. Krishna's sweetness also does not admit defeat, and Radharani tasting that love also does not admit defeat. As Radharani increases her taste, Krishna's sweetness increases. As Krishna's sweetness increases, Radharani's taste increases. So this is a wonderful transcendental competition between Krishna's sweetness and Radharani's love. Devotees taste my sweetness according to their respective love. So now we can understand this, how each one is in a different platform, how each living entity have their own limit of actually tasting that sweetness according to the level of love that they have developed. And if I see that sweetness reflected in a mirror, I also become tempted to taste it, although I cannot. Upon deliberation, I find that the only way I can relish my sweetness is to take the position of Srimati Radharani. This was Lord Krishna's second desire. So, if he had to taste the love what Radharani was tasting, he had to exchange his place with Radharani. That was the second reason. And his third desire was expressed while thinking as follows. Everyone says that I am the reservoir of all transcendental bliss. And indeed, all the world derives pleasure from me alone. Who then could give me pleasure? I think that only someone having 100 times more qualities than myself could give pleasure to my mind. But such a person is impossible to find. And yet, in spite of the fact that my beauty is surpassed and gives pleasure to all who perceive it, the sight of Srimati Radharani gives pleasure to my eyes. Although the vibration of my flute attracts everyone within the three worlds, my ears becomes enchanted by the sweet words spoken by Radharani. Although my body lends its fragrance to the entire creation, the scent of Radharani's limbs captivates my mind and heart. Although there are various tastes due to me alone, I become charmed by the nectarian taste of Radharani's lips. Although my touch is cooler than 10 million moons, I become refreshed by the touch of Srimati Radharani. Thus, in spite of the fact that I am the source of happiness for the entire world, the beauty and attributes of Sri Radhika are my life and soul. Just see that, Krishna is the source for the entire creation. But who is the source for Krishna? Krishna is saying it is Srimati Radharani. My eyes become fully satisfied by looking at Srimati Radharani. And yet, when she gazes at me, she feels even greater satisfaction. Even here we can see there's a transcendental competition. The whispering murmur of the bamboo trees that rub against one another steals away Radharani's mind, for she thinks it is the sound of my flute. She embraces a tamala tree, mistaking it for me, and thus she considers, I have gotten the embrace of Krishna, and now my life has become fulfilled. When the fragrance of my body is carried to her by the wind, Radharani becomes blinded by love and tries to fly in that breeze. When she tastes the betel nut that has been chewed by me, she merges into an ocean of joy and forgets everything else. So we can see how all the senses are engaged in Krishna's service. Each and every sense is engaged in Krishna's service. Thus, even with hundreds of mouths, I could not express the pleasure which Radharani derives from my association. Indeed, upon seeing the luster of her complexion after our pastimes together, I consider my own happiness to be negligent. Krishna is saying his happiness is negligent in front of Radharani's happiness. Experts say that the happiness of lover and beloved are equal, but they do not know the nature of transcendental love in Vrindavana. Because of the indescribable pleasure which Radharani experiences, I can understand that there is some unknown mellow within me that controls her entire existence. I am always very eager to taste the joy that Srimati Radharani derives from me, and yet, in spite of endeavoring, I have been unable to do so. Therefore, in order to fulfill my three desires, I shall assume Sri Radhika's bodily complexion and ecstatic loving sentiment, and then descend as an incarnation.
जो कि भक्त के रूप में होगा, और तो कृष्ण
Yeah.
What
You
happened
can.
to your finger, Mataji?
Oh, today, instead of cutting the lemon, I thought, let me check with the knife is sharp enough to cut my finger. So we can see
What
that.
is the third desire?
Sorry?
What is the third desire?
The third desire is to experience that happiness what Srimati Radharani is experiencing.
This is the motivation for Chaitanya avatar.
Yes, to take to descend as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Mataji keeps on dancing without standing in a minute.
Sorry,
Chaitanya Prabhu keeps on dancing, no?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness that she feels upon realizing the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari decided to appear in the form that was richly endowed with her emotions. So he took the emotions and color of Srimati Radharani. Krishna, who is blue in color, and Radharani, who is golden in color. So Krishna took the golden color and Radharani's emotions, and he descended as Gauranga. First of all, the Lord had his respectable superiors incarnate on the earth, such as his mother and father, Sri Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra. In addition, there was Madhavendra Puri, Keshava Bharati, Ishwara Puri, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Pandita, Thakur Haridasa, Acharya Ratna, and Vidyanidhi. So they all appeared before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Before the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of the devotees in the Navadvip area used to gather at the house of Advaita Acharya. In these meetings, Advaita Acharya preached on the basis of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, decrying the paths of philosophical speculation and fruitive activity, and firmly establishing the super excellence of devotional service. So in those days, they considered philosophical speculation and fruitive activities, that is karma kanda, karma yoga and jnana yoga, to be the highest. But in the discussions which happened at Advaita Acharya's house, they said that is not the highest. The highest is devotional service is the super excellent. So they were discussing on these lines. In the house of Advaita Acharya, the devotees took pleasure in always talking about Krishna, worshipping Krishna, and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. What a wonderful atmosphere. However, Advaita Acharya felt very pained to see how practically all the people of the world were devoid of Krishna consciousness and completely merged into material sense gratification. So this is actually the mood of an Acharya. You know, everything was happening nice for him in his life, devotees were coming and they were nicely discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. They are all having an ecstatic time. So their life was done. They're having a jolly time. But when Advaita Acharya saw the outside people who were not part of his group, he saw the people of the material world, he felt pained for them because they were thinking these ordinary materialistic things as to be all in all. They were thinking the joy what they got from possessing these material things was the highest, and how they were getting entangled. It's not that, okay, they enjoyed it and that's it. No, but after that, they had to face the consequences. They had to go through the, they had to face, it could be either punya karma or papa karma, which would again bind them into this material world. Knowing that no one can give relief from the cycle of repeated birth and death without taking interest in devotional service of the Lord, Advaita Acharya compassionately pondered over the means whereby the people could become delivered from the clutches of Maya. So he started meditating on how I could help these people. Advaita Acharya thought, only if Lord Krishna personally appears and preaches the path of devotional service by his own example, will liberation become possible for all people. Therefore, I shall worship the Lord in a purified state of mind and constantly petition him with all humility. Indeed, my name Advaita will be fitting only if I am able to induce Lord Krishna to inaugurate the Sankirtana movement of chanting the holy name, which is the only religion for this age. So we can see that how he is constantly meditating. And then he's also saying that, on my own, I cannot do it. Only the Lord has to come. So this is actually the mood. When we are empowered by Guru, we are empowered by Krishna, when we are empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should always think that, oh, nothing is possible for me. The Lord is using me as an instrument. How he says to Arjuna, Nimitta Matrena Savya Sachina, you are just an instrument. I have already killed all these people, but I'm just using you as an instrument, and so that I can glorify you. So Krishna is actually will use us as an instrument. And then when we try to spread this wonderful knowledge, wonderful message, we should always think that Krishna is so merciful that he could have used anybody else. But for my own purification, Krishna is using me. And how grateful we have to be to Guru, how grateful we have to be to the whole parampara. So this is very important. And when we are grateful to the whole parampara, then it is success for us in our devotional service. While Advaita Acharya thought about how to satisfy Krishna by his worship, the following verse came to his mind. Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself to one who offers him merely a tulasi leaf and a palmful of water. So this is very, very, it's what to say. This is a very confidential subject matter, which is mentioned in the Gautamiya Tantra. So how it's very easy to purchase Krishna. All we need to do is, with great affection, offer him water and tulsi leaf. Which water? Ganga water. So if we cannot have Ganga water wherever we are, we can invoke Ganga. How do we invoke Ganga? How do we invoke Ganga? By chanting 3 times. Ganga! 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 Yes, Satyaraj Prabhu, I see your hand up.
Mataji, I had one question. Like a few minutes ago, you were saying, like maybe I missed it. I don't know. I joined a little late. So you was mentioning Avatara and Avatari. What is the difference between those two, Mataji? Avatara and Avatari.
Avatari means one who is the source of all the incarnations. Avatara is incarnations. Avatari is source of all incarnations. So Krishna is the Avatari. And all the others of which the 10 are most important, the Dashavatara. But it's not that there are only 10 incarnations. Krishna's incarnations are unlimited like the waves of the ocean. So all others are avatars. And Krishna is the Avatari. And because there is no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also avatari.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Advaitacharya considered the meaning of this verse in the following way. Lord Krishna cannot find any way to repay the debt which he owes one to one who offers him a tulasi leaf and water. Therefore, the Lord concludes, since there is nothing in my possession which is equal to a tulasi leaf and water, I will liquidate the debt by offering myself to the devotee. See, what is the compassion? People think that, if we have to possess something which is very, very invaluable, we have to pay the highest price. But Krishna, you see, it's so easy to purchase him. With love and devotion, we just need to offer a palmful of water and tulasi leaf. And you can easily purchase Krishna. Thereafter, while meditating upon the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, Advaitacharya constantly offered tulsi buds. Tulsi buds means the manjaris, which have those small purple flowers. Tulsi buds in water from the Ganga, so the Ganges water. While thus engaged in worship, Advaitacharya petitioned Krishna to appear in by his loud cries, and this repeated invitation attracted the attention of the Lord, causing him to descend. So just imagine, when Advaitacharya petitioned, it crossed over the material coverings, it crossed over the spiritual worlds, and then it reached, and until it reached the lotus feet of Krishna, who was sitting in Golok Vrindavan, I did not stop. So such was the powerful cry of Advaitacharya. Sri Upendra Mishra, a Brahmana, who was formerly a Gopala named Parjanya, the grandfather of Lord Krishna, was a great devotee and scholar. One of Upendra's 7 sons, Jagannath Mishra, moved from Sri Hatta to the banks of the Ganga at Nadia, and then married Srimati Sachi Devi, the daughter of Nilambara Chakravarti, who was formerly Gargamuni. So there are 2 grandfathers. So one grandfather is very famous, Nilambara Chakravarti, who is Sachi Mata's father. So now, who is the father of Jagannath Mishra? Upendra Mishra. Jagannath Mishra's father is Upendra Mishra. So Upendra Mishra is the grandfather from the father's side. And Jagannath Mishra was one of the 7 sons, and he moved from Sri Hatta to Nadia. And Nilambar Chakravarti was earlier in Vrajalila, he was Gargamuni, and Upendra Mishra was a Gopala named Parjanya, who was the grandfather of Lord Krishna. Parjanya in Vrajalila is the grandfather of Lord Krishna. Before the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagannath Mishra, who was formerly Nanda Maharaj, begot 8 daughters in the womb of Sachi Devi, who was formerly Yashoda. But just after birth, they all died. Being very aggrieved at the loss of his children, one after another, Jagannath Mishra worshipped Lord Vishnu, desiring a son. Thereafter, Sachi Mata gave birth to a baby boy named Vishwarupa, who was an incarnation of Lord Baladeva. So we can see similar way. Krishna, before Krishna was born, Devaki lost 6 children. And the 7th one was Sankarshana Balarama. And here we see a similar way. Sachi Mata lost 8 daughters. And then the 9th child was Baladeva, Sankarshana. So that means first Baladeva appears and he prepares the ground. And then after that, Krishna appears. So similarly, Baladeva with his plow, he's actually preparing the ground in our hearts. He's preparing the ground in our heart. And then once all the unwanted things are removed, like how when we are preparing the ground, we remove all the weeds and the unwanted things. And then only after that, we start prepare the ground to sow the seeds. So like that, Baladeva prepares our ground, the ground in our heart, removing all the unwanted weeds, everything, unwanted stones and unwanted weeds, everything he removes. And then he prepares so that the seed of bhakti is sown. So similarly, we can see first, Baladeva appears in the womb of Sachi Mata, and a boy named Vishwarupa appears. Being very pleased, the mother and father began to serve the lotus feet of Govinda even more devotedly, because they realized that their happiness was his mercy, the Lord Govinda's mercy. Then in the month of Magha, January of the year 1406 Shaka era, Lord Krishna entered the bodies of both Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. Thereafter, Jagannath informed his wife, I see many wonderful things. Your body seems to be very effulgent, and it appears as if the goddess of fortune is personally residing in our house. Wherever I go, everyone offers me respect, and even without asking, they give me money, clothes, and grains. Tachimata replied, I also see wonderfully brilliant beings appearing in the sky as if offering prayers. Jagannath Mishra then said, in a dream, I saw the effulgent abode of the Lord enter into my heart. Then from my heart, it entered your heart. And thus I can understand that a great personality will soon take birth. After this conversation, both husband and wife felt very jubilant, and with great care and attention, they rendered service to the household Shaligram Shila. However, when Sachimata's pregnancy approached the 13th month and still there was no sign of delivery, Jagannath Mishra became very apprehensive. At that time, Neelambara Chakravarti made an astrological calculation and predicted that the child would be born that very month, taking advantage of an auspicious moment. Thus, it so happened that on the evening of the Palguni Purnima in the year 1407 Shaka era, corresponding to the modern year 1486, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made his appearance at Navadvipa. At this time, Rahu considered, when the spotless moon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is about to become visible, what need is there for a moon which is full of black marks? Thinking in that way, Rahu covered the full moon, and so all of the Hindus went to the bank of the Ganga in order to bathe and chant the names of Krishna and Hari. When the Hindus were thus vibrating the holy names of the Lord, the Mohammedans jokingly imitated them in this way. At the time of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, everyone was engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In all directions and within everyone's mind, there was peacefulness and joy. In Shantipura, Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakura began chanting and dancing in a very pleasing mood, although no one could understand why they did so. While laughing again and again, they also went to the Ganga, and at that time, Advaita Acharya took advantage of the lunar eclipse to distribute all kinds of charity to the Brahmanas. Upon seeing how the whole world became jubilant, Haridas Thakura addressed Advaita Acharya in great astonishment. Since your dancing and distribution of charity appears very pleasing to me, I can understand that you have some very special purpose. In Navadvip, Srivas Thakura and Acharya Ratna, who was also called Chandrasekhara, immediately went to bathe in the Ganga, and while chanting the holy name of the Lord in great jubilation, they also gave charity by dint of mental strength. Indeed, wherever they were situated, all the devotees danced, chanted, and gave charity on the plea of the lunar eclipse, their minds overwhelmed with joy. Even in the heavenly planets, chanting and dancing was going on, for the demigods were very eager to witness the transcendental appearance of the Lord. All sorts of respectable ladies and gentlemen bearing plates full of gifts came to see the newborn child, whose complexion resembled the color of molten gold, and offered him blessings. Dressing themselves as the wives of the Brahmanas, the consorts of Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Narsinga Deva, King Indra, Vashishta, as well as many other celestial ladies, also came to the house of Jagannath Mishra with various presentations. From the sky, the Gandharvas, Siddhas, and Charanas offered prayers unto the Lord, accompanied by singing, dancing, and playing of musical instruments. In Navadvipa, the professional reciters, singers, and dancers gathered at the house of Jagannath Mishra in order to offer their blessings and receive charity in return. Indeed, there was such a crowd that no one could understand who was coming and who was going, nor could the people understand each other's languages. Still, everyone found that their unhappiness and lamentation were immediately dissipated, and upon seeing the people's happiness, Jagannath Mishra also became overwhelmed with joy. So we will stop here. We will continue tomorrow. How the festivities took place in the house of Jagannath Mishra, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born on lunar eclipse. So nothing happened on that day. And the next day, actually, Jagannath Mishra gave a big feast. So, so we are all fortunate that we witnessed the birth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nithai Gaur Sitanath Premanande.
With your grace, Mataji.
With the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada.
Through you. Through you, Mataji.
Hari Bol. Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Jai, Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
I took one extra moment. So do we have time for one question?
Ask
Yeah,
Mataji.
Okay. Yes, Susevani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. We know the sons of Marichi were born as 6 sons of Yashoda Maya, Jagadevaki, and they died because of their offenses that they committed to Brahma. And who are the 8 daughters here, Mataji? What happened? Why they had to die?
So let us wait for the book of Gurudev to come. Maybe he must have mentioned it there.
Okay.
Mataji, when is the next tour, Mataji?
Next tour. Vaishnav Prabhu, where are you? I was just now seeing you. Where did you see? He put off his video the minute you said next tour.
No, he said after Gaura Purnima, they will say.
Still there's time, 15 days time.
Okay, Mataji.
Yes, everybody is also eagerly waiting. The next yatra.
Which place?
Vaishnav Prabhu, you are supposed to answer those questions.
Yeah, the announcement will come. I would request them to hold on to their curiosity.
Yes, Satyaraj Prabhu, I see your hand up.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, Jagannath Mishra previous.
Who was
Who is
Jagannath
Jagannath Mishra Mataji? Previous.
Nanda Maharaj.
Oh, okay, okay. Thanks,
And
Mataji.
Sachi Mata is Yashoda Mata.
Oh, okay, Mataji. Thanks, Mataji.
So they're about to be husband.
Okay. So thank
This
you all
time,
for
no.
your wonderful association.
Mataji, this time no Devaki, Vasudeva, only Yashoda and Maya.
No, they are
and-
also there. Partially, they are also there. So there are actually 3 incarnations: Kashyapa, Devaki, Kashyapa, Vasudeva, and Nanda Maharaj, and Aditi, and Devaki and Yashoda. All the 3, all the 6, no, 3 of them were in the body of Jagannath Mishra.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare
you-
Krishna.
You said that
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Sarita Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay, first Sarita Mataji, then Lalita Mataji, and then Taneshwar Prabhu. Yes.
you said that Lord came down to taste all rasas like Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Madhurya rasa. The rest 2, you said what?
Dasya and Shanta.
And one more question, like Vishwarupa, he's Balaram himself. That's what you are saying, right, no, Mataji? Then Nityananda Prabhu.
Sorry?
Nityananda Prabhu is also Balaram only?
Yes, Nityananda is also Balaram. So as the story goes further, you will understand.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
This
Krishna.
Advaitacharya, no, Mataji. Is he the one we chant before Sri Advaita Gadadhar?
Yes.
Okay, Mataji. Then what is his incarnation, Mataji? Like everybody has this.
Advaitacharya is a mixed incarnation of Lord Vishnu and Sadashiva.
Okay, Mataji.
Sadashiva, who is in the spiritual world, and Lord Vishnu.
Okay, because of his prayers, Lord descended, you said,
Correct.
Mataji.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu. If somebody else asked, some Prabhu. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I didn't have any question, Mataji. Just wanted to say thank you for the class, and it was a
I'm not
wonderful.
able to see you. Where are you?
I can.
See, there you are. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji.
Just one request. Is it possible to prepone this class by 30 minutes? Because like by 9 in the morning, we have meetings starting and I really don't want to miss this. You know? So it's like it's going 8:30 to 9:30 Central Time. So if it can be more like 8 to 9, I know it's a huge crowd and adjusting everyone's time is really difficult. But just see if it is possible.
Okay, I will just ask Vaishnav Prabhu to take a census and check which is the most convenient time for everyone.
Just a humble request. If it is possible, then it's fine.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's what I will just ask Vaishnav Prabhu to check it out with everyone. He will check it out, and then based on what is maximum, which is the time which devotees are comfortable, we will have in that time. Okay. Hare Krishna.
These classes, Mataji, I know it's going to be a nectar, so I don't want to miss out the opportunity.
It's wonderful that you are so enthusiastic.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, can it be at 7:30 to 8:30?
That's what I'm saying. I'll ask check with Vaishnav Prabhu.
Just an option I want to give you.
Yeah.
Because the night dinner starts from 8:30. So.
Okay, I'll check with Vaishnav Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay then. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Viraj Goswami ki jai, Nitai Gaur Sita Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Thank you, all devotees.
Mataji, Dandavat pranam.